Good afternoon. Welcome to our Institute of Global Professional Free webinar. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till my lovely audience. Today I am your host for the afternoon. My name is Badundas. I am from Bangladesh. Dear audience, I am proud to be associate with IGP as a global member. I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institute of Global Professional Free webinars. Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous afternoon, and it's my humble request and pleasure to all of you to stay with us till the end. Institute of Global Professionals serves student community resource providing holistic social support and education for create competent generation. IGP is a leading online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. Institute of Professional is an educational institute provide social work with globally recognized. We organized our webinar training offline online courses by best and trained speaker coaches from all over the world. Our mission is to empower people. We have already completed 1,102 webinars successfully. Dear participant, it's time to welcome our speaker.
A very warm greetings to you all from Dr. Bhushan Sharma, India. I welcome you all to this seminar
Hello,
titled
ma'am. How are you?
Feminisms. Now I share my screen with you. Is it visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Am I audible? My voice is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am. Everything is clear. You can continue your presentation.
Okay, once again, I welcome you all to my session Feminisms. And highlights of today's sessions are background, what is feminism? Why do we need feminism? Who is a feminist? Can men be feminists? What are the different waves of feminisms? How and why did feminism change to feminisms? What are the different types of feminisms? What is a feminist theory? And what feminism is not, or misconception about the feminisms. Feminism was a movement which originated in the West, and background to this movement, the factors which gave rise to the rise of feminism are the various. In the Western history, throughout most of the period, women were confined to the domestic sphere while public life was reserved for men. Until 19th century, women were denied the right to own property, to study or participate in public life. At the end of the 19th century in France, they were still compelled to cover their heads in public, and in parts of Germany, a husband still had the right to sell his wife. Even as late as the early 20th century, women could neither vote nor hold elective office in Europe. So, all these factors which subjugated women, which marginalized women, which restricted women to the household, these factors gave rise to the uh, beginning of feminism. Now, question arises, what is feminism? The term feminism originated from the French word féminisme, coined by the utopian socialist Charles Fourier and was first used in English in 1890s. Feminism refers to the various movements which started in United Kingdom and United States to defend women's equal political, social and economic rights. It also consists in establishing equal opportunities for women. Thus, it comprises a number of social, cultural, and political movements, theories, and moral philosophies concerned with gender inequalities and equal rights for women. In its narrow interpretation, it refers to the effort to ensure legal and political equality for women. In broader sense, it comprises any theory which is grounded on the belief that women are oppressed or disadvantaged and their oppression is illegitimate or unjustified is feminism. Therefore, feminism is a belief in the importance of gender equality. Invalidating the idea of gender hierarchy, feminism discards the idea of gender hierarchy, and it follows that it is a socially constructed concept. There is no gender hierarchy, no difference between men and women. Now, what is feminism and how it became feminisms? Is the word is the real word feminism or plural feminisms? Gender refers to the socially constructed definitions, what it means to be male or female. Biologically, we have two sexes, male and female, but gender gives rise to man and women. According to the culture, social binaries are created between man and women, dominant and oppressed, master and slave. Women is an oppressed class, as feminism is a socio political and philosophical position about the relationships between men, women, and power. As we know, there are different cultures all over the world. So, women, the gender, the subjugated gender, or women, the class of women, they are also diversified. Since they are diversified, they come from different backgrounds and cultures. They have different lived experiences. So they have different issues or different challenges in their lives. As a result, there is not one kind of feminism. Thus, this section is entitled Feminisms. Now, there are different terms. What is feminism, as we have discussed? Then, what is feminist or who is a feminist? Feminist activist, and what is feminist theory? Feminism, as we discussed, these are number of social, cultural, and political movements, theories, moral philosophies which are concerned with gender inequalities and which talk about or which makes an attempt to equal rights for women. And feminist is a person who believes in feminism, one who supports gender equality, and who question is who can be feminist? Both male and female, man and women can be feminist. He should be a supporter or she should be a supporter of gender equality and bats for women's rights. And a feminist activist opposes anything that is detrimental to the societal growth of women. He not only believes in the ideology, but he participates actively. A feminist activist speaks or writes against sexual harassment, sexual assault, and domestic violence. Workplace rights are another important area of debate when it comes to the activities of a feminist. The activities to promote feminism are called feminist activities. Thus, a committed feminist are called a feminist activist. Feminist activists usually conduct campaigns for women's rights. Since women are a oppressed class, majority of the feminist activists are women. Definitely, men can be a feminist, they can be feminist activist too. And the symbol shown here, it's a symbol of feminism. Feminism, which talks about equal opportunity for all women and men. Now, next is what is feminist theory? Feminist theory is the extension of feminism into theoretical or philosophical discourse. It aims to understand the nature of gender inequality. According to Flex, feminist theory has several purposes. Feminist theory, it's a discourse, it's a discussion, it's a debate which helps us to understand the power differential between men and women. Feminist theory helps us to understand women's oppression, how it evolved, how it changes over time, and how it is related to other forms of oppression. And above all, the main point is the main discussion is about how to overcome this oppression of women. Feminist theory and politics are marked by intense internal debates and is generally recognized by that it would be more accurate to talk about feminisms in plural rather than one single feminism, because we need to empower all women all over the world. Now, history of feminism. In Western societies, several waves of women's empowerment have occurred. It wasn't one complete movement in one go. Most theorists identify four waves of feminism, each with particular interest related to larger social and cultural issues and trends. The first wave of feminism refers to a period of feminist activity during the 19th century and early 20th century in the United Kingdom and United States. So feminism that originated in West, in United Kingdom and United States. The women from these countries were first to voice their demands. First wave feminism, which arose in Europe and the United States in the 19th century, focused heavily on fighting for women's suffrage, that is, right to vote. Till this time, women were not allowed to vote. A vindication of the rights of women, written by Mary Wollstonecraft in 1742, that was an important essay on feminism. Wollstonecraft protested against the stereotyping of women in domestic roles. Till that time, women, they were bound to stay at home and to perform the household work. And till that time, there was a failure. The women were not regarded as individuals in their own right, and they were not allowed uh, to educate and even to use their intellect. In 1918, the Representation of People Act was passed in Britain, granting the vote to women. And initially, it was only the women who were above the age of 30 and who owned houses, they were given the right to vote. And in 1928, this was extended to all women over 18 years. In the United States, the 19th Amendment to United States Constitution in 1919 granted women the right to vote. For further reading To understand first wave feminism, you can read Mary Wollstonecraft's book. Initially, what I discussed, that was an essay which was published in 1742. In 1791, the book was published under the title A Vindication of the Rights of Women, that talks about rights of women, right to vote, right to education, right to express their views. And the next important what you can read is by Sojourn Truth, Ain't I a Woman? That was published in 1851. Ain't I a Woman? That is a speech delivered by Sojourner Truth, who was born into slavery in New York State. Sometime after gaining her freedom in 1827, she became a well known anti slavery speaker. Her speech was delivered at Women's Convention in Ohio in 1851, and originally it did not have any title. Truth questions the treatment of white women compared to black women. She questions the how black women are given a different treatment than white women. Seemingly pointing out a man in the room, Truth says, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. She exclaims that no one ever does any of these things for her, repeating the question, and ain't I a woman? And ain't I a woman? And ain't I a woman several times? She says that she has worked and birthed many children, making her as much a woman as anyone else. Then why she is not given equal treatment? And then after that, many rewritings and publications of this speech were there. Initially there was no publication. Then you can read a book by Virginia Woolf that was published in 1929, A Room of One's Own. Initially, this was also an essay. Woolf uses metaphors to explore social injustices and comments on women's lack of free expression. Till that time, women could not express, they could not write, they were not having any voice. Using the metaphor, Woolf explains her most essential point: a woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write a fiction. Then, second wave of feminism, that refers to a period of feminist activity beginning in early 1960s and lasting through the late 1980s. It was a continuation of the earlier phase of feminism, which sought legal and political rights in United Kingdom and United States. While first wave feminism focused absolute rights such as suffrages, right to vote, second wave feminism was largely concerned with other issues of equality, such as the end to gender discrimination in society, in education, and in the workplace. Second wave feminism saw cultural and political inequalities as inextricably linked. The movement encouraged women to understand aspects of their own personal lives as deeply politicized and reflective of gender biased structure of power. The important writing of this period, that is the second wave feminism, was The Feminine Mystique, published in 1963 by Betty Friedan, who criticized the idea that women could only find fulfillment through childbearing and homemaking. That is, the women cannot think beyond childbearing and homemaking. The book ignited the contemporary women's movement in 1963 and as a result permanently transformed the social fabric of United States and countries around the world and is widely regarded as one of the most influential non-fiction books of the 20th century. Freudian hypothesized that women are victims of a false belief. There is a false belief system, a false ideology that requires them to find identity and meaning in their lives through their husbands and children. That a false belief is there, an ideology has been created which makes them to feel that their only fulfillment is through their families, children, and husbands. They should not and they cannot think beyond. Such a system causes women to completely lose their identity in that of their family. Freudian specifically located this system among post World War II middle class suburban communities. Before World War II, uh, till that time women they were restricted to household work only, but after the World War II there was a rise in technology. She pointed out that through America's post-war economic boom had led to the development of new technologies that were supposed to make household work less difficult. They often had the result of making women's work less meaningful and valuable. Now, technology was used in the household work, so women's work or the household work which women used to do that also got devalued. That gave the message that women cannot do any of the significant work. Freudian's book played an important role in encouraging women to question traditional female roles and seek self fulfillment. Now, it put a question why women cannot get education, why they cannot go out and work and earn. For further reading of second wave feminism, you can read Simone de Beauvoir's book, The Second Sex, published in 1949. The Feminine Mystique, a book, complete book by Betty Friedan, 1963. In Search of Mother's Gardens by Alice Walker. And Sister Outsider, Audre Lorde, who was a lesbian. And she has voiced her marginalization in Sister Outsider. And third wave feminism, it began in the late 1980s and continues to be important in the 21st century. Third wave feminists grew up at a time when educational, professional, and cultural opportunities were open to women. During this period, women were allowed uh, to go out and work. They had the right to get education and other cultural opportunities. They had all these things. At that time, there arose the third wave feminism. Then what made this wave to rise? Third wave feminism include a greater focus on the diverse concerns of many subgroups of women. As I have discussed earlier, that all women are not similar, all women are not from the same background, from the same location. Till then, the feminism talked only about white women, about European women, about white middle class women. Now, this third wave feminism that takes into account the issues of many subgroups of women, issues of race, issues of class, issues of sexual orientation, and other factors of identity. Third wave feminism introduced the concept of intersectionality. Intersectionality is a framework for examining how factors of social stratification, such as gender, age, race, class, and sexual orientation, are not separate but intertwined. This concept attempts to identify how each factor functions to create layers and experiences of oppression, stratification, and injustice. For example, if one is woman, that is one layer of oppression. Being a woman, you are uh, at a lower, you get lower choices in your life. You are subjugated. You don't get all opportunities to uh, develop to your full potential. And if you are a black woman, that forms another layer of oppression, because black women feels subjugated when compared to white women. So you have two layers of oppression. And if that woman is poor, poverty stricken, then this economical factor forms another layer of oppression. Then that women is suppressed by overlapping three kinds of forces, that is, one, gender; second, her race, her color; and third is her class, her economic background. So this all is discussed under the heading intersectionality. And during this wave, there was the development of the feminist standpoint theory. It's a feminist theoretical point of view stating that a person's social position influences their perspective, formation, and knowledge. Since 1980s, standpoint feminists have argued that the feminist movement should address global issues like rape, incest, prostitution, and culturally specific issues also, as female genital mutilation in some parts of Africa and Arab societies. And it should also discuss like factors like glass ceiling practices that impede women's advancement in developed economies, in order to understand how gender inequality interacts with racism, classism, and matrix of domination. A glass ceiling. What is glass ceiling? Is a metaphor usually applied to women, used to represent an invisible barrier that prevents a given demographic from rising beyond a certain level in a hierarchy. No matter how invisible the glass ceiling is expressed, it is actually a difficult obstacle to overcome. Now, further reading for Third Wave Feminism is Gender Trouble by Judith Butler, and Mapping the Margins, Intersectionality, Identity Politics, and Violence Against Women of Color by Kimberly Crenshaw, 1991. Now, Fourth Wave Feminism. Fourth Wave Feminism arose in 21st century. It is characterized by the use of technology, particularly social media, to share its messages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, blogs, and many others, to challenge misogyny and other gender equality, and further gender equality. Important goals include starting conversations and changing norms, behaviors, and expectations. These feminists often call out or expose sexist and oppressive behavior publicly, bringing attention to instances of injustice in order to initiate change. So, these feminists do not wait for legal processes. Instead, they want to highlight the issues themselves in public media. Issues that the fourth wave feminists focus on include street and workplace harassment, campus sexual assault and rape culture, scandals involving the harassment, abuse, and the murder of women and girls have galvanized the movement. Example, Jimmy Savile allegations of 2012, Jimmy Savile, an English media personality who had died the previous year, sexually abused hundreds of people throughout his life, most of them children, but some as old as 75 and most of them female. He had been well known in United Kingdom for his eccentric image and was generally respected for his charitable work. So his deeds were exposed through media after his death. Then 2017 Westminster sexual scandals. It deals with a series of allegations concerning the involvement of British politicians in case of sexual harassment and assault that arose in October and November 2017. Allegations were prompted by discussing among junior staff employed in the UK Parliament at Westminster and the subsequent rise of the Me Too movement. Me Too movement, as you all know, is a social movement against sexual abuse, sexual harassment, rape culture, in which people publicize their experiences of sexual abuse or sexual harassment. The phrase Me Too was initially used in the context of social media in 2006 on MySpace by sexual assault survivor and activist Tarana Burke. The purpose of Me Too, as initially voiced by Burke as well as those who later adopted the tactic, is to empower sexually assaulted people, especially young and vulnerable women. Then let's talk about the diversity of feminist thought, why it's called feminisms or the different types of feminisms. Feminism, as we discussed, has a long history. Feminism is also a response to women's lives and experiences, and the varieties of feminism reflects the changing and varied nature of women's experience. Since women's they come from a different culture, different countries, different backgrounds, they have different lived experience, which forms their different perspectives of life and which give rise to different kind of issues. So we have multiple feminisms. Feminism has multiple branches and variants. However, most feminists agree on some common goals like increasing gender equality. All feminisms has an aim of increasing gender equality, expanding choices in social roles so that both men and women can explore whatever talents and interest they choose. It should not be that a woman is restricted only to the household, she should not get education. So all kind of feminisms, they promote equal choices for all. They should be allowed to make choices. And all feminisms eliminate norms and laws limiting women's educational opportunities, access to jobs, and income potential. All feminisms they aim at ending sexual violence and aggression, promoting sexual freedom, and ensuring that women have control of their bodies and sexual experiences, legal rights such as rights of contract, property rights, and voting rights, and advocate for workplace rights, including maternity leave, equal pay, women's rights to bodily autonomy, and reproductive rights. So, now, Fiona Tolan, in her essay Feminisms, she used the terminology feminisms. She suggests that the roots of difference of various feminist thinkers from each other can be traced back to Simone de Beauvoir's book, The Second Sex. Beauvoir claims that one is not born but rather becomes a woman through culturally restrictions. This one sentence, according to Tolan, has led to questions as simple and complex as what is a woman? In the attempt to address this question, feminism has become fractured, divided, and contradictory. It has also strengthened, developed, and evolved. So, different branches of feminism. The first one is the mainstream feminism, also called the liberal feminism. It asserts the equality of men and women through political and legal reform. It mainly focuses on achieving women's rights and social justice through legal political reform applied to existing social structures. So they want reforms, changes in the existing social structures. Basic belief of this thought are that women and men are alike in important ways and should receive equal treatments. Issues important to liberal feminists include reproductive and abortion rights, sexual harassment, voting, education, equal pay for equal work, affordable child care, affordable health care, and bringing to light the frequency of sexual and domestic violence against women. Next is Marxist feminism and socialist feminism. Stemming from work of Karl Marx, Marxist feminism focused on the economic forces that work to oppress women. Marxist feminists argue the main cause of women's oppression is capitalism. For Marxist feminists, the solution to gender inequality are economic. Since the women they do not earn, they are oppressed, they are subjugated, they are not empowered. Specifically, Marxist feminists question how a capitalist system supports a division of labor that privileges men and devalues women. Extending Marxist feminist thought, socialist feminists believe that women's unpaid labor in home is one of the fundamental causes of sexism and oppression of women. So Marxist and socialist feminism, feminists they support, they argue that since women are restricted to the household work and their household work is not paid, and because of not payment, their work has no value. Socialist feminists think unequal standing in both the workplace and the domestic spheres hold women down. So, the gendered division of labor should be discarded to empower women. Now, next is radical feminism. Radical feminism, these feminists tend to be more militant, as the word depicts. They are more militant in their approach than other feminists. Radical feminists aim to dismantle patriarchy rather than make adjustment to the systems through legal changes. They do not want that some reforms to be added in the present society. Instead, they want the whole social structure should be uprooted and new one to be made. It is a perspective within feminism that calls for radical reordering of society in which male supremacy is eliminated in all social and economic contexts. Patriarchy, the word patriarchy that I used here, it's a social system in which power is held by men through cultural norms and customs that favor men and withhold opportunity for women. So, patriarchy, it's a social system. Because of that, boys are treated at a they are given a better treatment, better education, better food in many of the communities, whereas girls they lack all these basic facilities. So this our social system or the patriarchy is responsible for creating such disparities. Next kind of feminism is ecofeminism. Coming into consciousness in 1970s, ecofeminism unites feminist philosophy with environmental and ecological ideas and ethics. Ecofeminism links ecology with feminism, environment with feminism. Eco-feminists see the domination of women as stemming from the same ideologies that bring about the domination of the environment. Patriarchal systems where men own and control the land, all property or land that is owned by men. Similarly, women are also owned by men. So, patriarchal systems are seen as responsible for both the oppression of women and the destruction of the natural environment. Thus, this feminism supporters of this position are not just concerned with ending oppression of women, but changing the value structure. These feminists, they are in favor of changing the value structure that supports oppression of earth. Therefore, exploiting forest resources, natural resources, killing of animals, damaging or harming natural environment. Vandana Shiva, she explains how women's special connection to the environment through their daily interactions with it have been ignored. Next type of feminism is cultural feminism, a variety of feminism which emphasizes or accepts essential differences between men and women based on biological differences in reproductive capacity. These feminists, they favor that, they accept that their men and women, they are biologically different. And the phrase essential differences refers to the belief that gender differences are part of the essence of females or males, that the differences are not chosen but are part of nature of woman or man. But these feminists, they advocate for, they agree that there are biological differences between men and women, but they advocate that equal valuing of female occupations, including parenting, their household work, their care work, their parenting should be valued, and respecting child care in home. Then paying wages, the women who are at home, they are working of child care, babysitting, they are parenting, they are doing the household work, though they are not getting salaries from outside, but they should be paid so that their work is valued. So, uh, wages for household work. Respecting this will bring respecting female value of care and nurturing. Then working to balance a culture that overvalues. These feminists, they advocate to balance a culture that overvalues male values of aggression and undervalues female values of kindness and gentleness. Their kindness, their caring, their gentleness should not be undervalued. These values are equally important. In fact, these values are more important. Creating rape crisis centers and women's shelters, often in cooperation with other kinds of feminists. Cultural feminism refers to the separatist idea that women innately possess an evolved essence which distinguishes them from men. They say that women are more evolved, giving them societal advantages that culture at large has historically qualified as weakness. Cultural feminists believe that women's perspective should receive more credence. Next is Black feminism. This school of thought argues that sexism, class oppression, gender identity, and racism are inextricably bound together. The way these concepts relate to each other is called intersectionality. The term intersectionality was first coined by Levi legal scholar Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. In her work, Mapping the Margins, Crenshaw discussed Black feminism, which argues that the experience of being a Black woman cannot be understood in terms of being Black or of being woman. Each concept is considered independently, but must include the interactions which frequently reinforce, overlap, intersect each other. Now, next is global, transnational, and third world feminism. These are against, these are again, there are different categories of feminism. Global feminism is a belief that patriarchy is universal. Women across the globe have a common experience of gender oppression. Global feminism talks about a single kind of oppression, that is gender based oppression. And according to this feminism, this this factor is universal. Oppression is universal, it is same all over the world. Transnational feminism is sensitive to differences among women. That is, different women who come from different countries, different background, different culture, religion, socioeconomic class. They have different issues, different challenges in their lives. It refers both to the practices of women's movement around the world and to a theoretical perspective in which women theorize and strategize for women's rights and gender justice across national boundaries, work in collaboration with women from other countries, and frame their activism in terms that are both local and global. Thus, transnational feminism refers to the flow of ideas, issues, strategies, organizations, and activists across national boundaries. They work together, they share issues, they share ideas, they share strategies across national boundaries. Third world feminism struggles for female equality existing outside the Western countries, specifically in the developing ones. Western feminist discourses consider third world women as unenlightened, less powerful, exploited, sexually harassed, and illiterate. Now, there is a book, in fact, authored by me only. This book talks about Dalit feminism. It's again a discussion of ideas across the boundaries, from feminist standpoint theory of Black women to Dalit feminist standpoint theory. The book is The Outsiders Within, Developing a Dalit Feminist Standpoint in the Life Narratives of Dalit Women. And the most important point to be discussed is what feminism is not. There is a misconception that feminists are reverse sexist. Feminists do not seek to oppress women. Feminists do not seek to oppress men. Instead, their main purpose is to empower the subjugated class, to empower the oppressed class of women. It does not, or it never talks about oppressing men, but the empowerment of women. Now, reactions to feminism. Different groups of people have responded to feminism, and both men and women have been among its supporters and critics. Research shows both men and women commonly support for feminist ideas, but they are unwilling to identify themselves as feminists. All support feminism, All support the empowerment of women, but they are not ready to call themselves as feminists. With this, we end our today's seminar. Thank you so much. I hope the today's session was it was uh, I hope this session will definitely bring a change in the society and will help scholars and researchers and students to understand gender disparity and the problems of women and how to empower them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presentation. It has been very informative
Thank,
for us and also for our participants. Ma'am, it's time for our quiz session. After complete the quiz session, we come back again for our question answer session. So you have to wait for a few minutes, ma'am.
okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, ma'am. Dear participant, to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com and the code is IGP2. And the code is after a short video, we will start our quiz session. So let's enjoy our quiz session. অনেক তাড়াতাড়ি গো, 1 ঘন্টা প্রায় তো 40 মিনিট 56 হইলো। ধরেন আমারগুলো 10 মিনিট গেলে আর হচ্ছে 40 মিনিট। রিমুভ করে দিলাম। কেমনে? Dear participant, to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com and the code is IGP2. And the code is IGP2. We will pick your name from Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on certificate. Top 10 will be awarded quiz certificates. Already 32 people join with us. We will start our quiz session after 2 minutes. Please mention your friend to join our quiz session. Dear participants, to join our quiz, go www.slido.com and the code is IGP2. And the code is IGP2. Already 35 people joined us. We will start our quiz session after 1 minute. Let's start our quiz session. Our first question is, what does different feminism says about other feminisms? Option 1, they are wrong. Option 2, they are right. What does different feminism says about other feminisms? Option 1, they are wrong. Option 2, they are right. Option 1, they are wrong is the right answer and 26% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Alex is holding the first position. Our second question is, there is a difference among feminism, human and feminicist. Option 1, true. Option 2, false. Option 1, true. Option 2, false. Option 1, true, is the right answer and 86% people are right here. Alex is holding the Flommy is holding the first position after completing the second question. Our third question is, the post-feminisms asserts that gender is not, option 1, a basis of oppression, option 2, an identity. A basis of oppression, option 2, an identity. Option 2, an identity is the right answer and 42% people right here. In the leaderboard, Evelyn is holding the first position after completing our third question. Our fourth question is, difference feminism mainly belong to the third wave. Option 1, false. Option 2, true. Difference feminism mainly belong to the third wave. Option 1, false. Option 2, true. Option 2, true is the right answer and 44% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flami is holding the first position after completing our fourth question. Our fifth question is, which two feminisms do dual symptoms feminists combine? Option 1, difference and liberal. Option 2, Marxist and radical. Option 2, Marxist and radical is the right answer and 54% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flami is holding the first position after completing our fifth question. Our sixth question is, what is the difference between feminism since the 1980s and post-feminism? Option 1, post-feminism is pro-capitalization. Feminists since the 1980s are not. Option 2, post-feminism rejects feminist fight overall. Option 2, post-feminism rejects feminist fights overall is the right answer and 24% people are right here. The leaderboard, Fami is holding the first position after completing our sixth question. Our seventh question is, which of the following is not a critique of global post-colonial and transnation feminisms? Option 1, global feminism neglects the practicality of human experience. Option 2, post-colonial feminism address concern of women in colonial. Option 2, post-colonial feminism address concern of women in colonized countries is the right answer and 51% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Yugi is holding the first position of a Kabiri 7th question. Our eighth question is postmodern and post-structuralist feminism see dash as the primary location of power. Option 1 bodies, option 2 language. Option 2 language is the right answer and 59% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kingwei is holding the first position. Our ninth question is who says that the employment of other women to do domestic labor is Western feminism dirty little secret? Option 1 Polly Triben, option 2 Catherine Hakim. Option 1 Polly Tranby is the right answer and 44% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kingwei is holding the first position. Our last and final question of this session, feminisms, option 1, the belief that women are better than men, the belief that women are equal to men. The right answer is the belief that women are equal to men is and 84% people are right here. Congratulations, our top 10 quiz competition winner. We have which you entered during journey. We will pick your name from Slido and prepare certificate and post them into our official Facebook page and group. Our official Facebook page is Institute of Global Professional. Dear participant, after a short video, we will start our question answer session. So let's enjoy our question answer session. আচ্ছা শুনেন, এখন কি আগে ওয়েবিনার কোড দিব নাকি আগে রিভিউটা কমপ্লিট করব? এটার কোনটার পরে এটা দিবা আগে, তারপর ওয়েবিনার প্রাণ ওয়েবিনার এই জন্য বলতেছি আর কি। বিশেষ 5 টাকার তো মোটামুটি কোয়ান্টিটি দিছে। হুম, তারপর বুঝলাম। Welcome back, our participants. Welcome back, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Welcome back, ma'am.
Hello, hello. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Our first question is from Jordan Jue. Good day, ma'am. What are problems faced by women in a society?
A very good afternoon, Jordan. Uh, your question is, what are the problems faced by women in our society? The question, it's very broad, since we have discussed so many feminisms here, so many types of women here. So the question, better question is to be more specific, since it's the problems faced by women in our society. You have not shown what kind of women, from which background. Different women, they come from different backgrounds, different, as I have discussed in my session. They come from different culture, different religion, different educational background, different economical background. So their problems vary from community to community, from group to group, from country to country. As white women, they have their own different kinds of problems. That is why we had four different waves of feminisms. Initially, they had no political rights, no basic rights to education. They fought for that. And in the fourth wave, they brought the cases of sexual harassment at workplace to the forefront. So it's not specific that all women, they have similar kind of problems. Still, I will summarize all the problems, some common problems of women. First is they have limited choice because of their gender roles. Still, we have, in majority of the communities, we have gendered labor. Women are, they are the caretakers of uh, family members, uh, children they have to take care. So maximum women, they are expected to run the household. So that limits their choice, that limits their development to full potential. Though they also have equal intelligence, equal IQ, since they lack opportunities, they cannot develop to their full potential. And second problem is economic, since majority of the women, they stay at home, they do household work. As I discussed, their work is unpaid, their work is unvalued. They do not earn. For economical factors, they are dependent on male members. So economic oppression is again the second important problem of women. So if as we have discussed in Marxist and socialist feminism, if we want to empower our women, we need to educate them, we need to give them opportunities to earn. If they are earning well, they can be empowered, they can have their say, they can have their choices. And sometimes there are cultural operations also, like we have systems, social norms in our societies, that again differentiates between men and women, which limit their opportunities. So once again, I'll say that, and plus is the women who are empowered, who are working, who are in their workplaces, they suffer sexual harassments at workplaces. For example, the labor women who are working in fields or in factories, they may face a problem of difference in their salaries. There is difference of salaries between men and women. The labor women, they are paid very less as compared to men. And in higher strata of the society, again, we may find some differences based on gender. For example, they may not be having maternity leave, or some other factors which women should be given, because women, they have to run their families also, they have to take care of their children also. So they need some more facilities. So once again, I would say that the question that is being put, that is the, that requires a whole lot of, again, feminism to be discussed again. So I hope it's clear what are the problems faced by our women in a society.
Thank
Main
you.
problem is their oppression. Second is their economical operations, since they are not allowed to earn. Word is, if they are allowed to earn, they are again, there is gender bias. I hope it's clear, Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. Our question is from Sharma. Good day, Dr. Sharma. How can we promote quality in the school as a teacher to lessen the impact of feminism afterward in the society?
How can we promote equality in the school as a teacher? You mean to say that if you're working as a teacher, you need equality? Is that? In school, if you are working in a school as a teacher and you want to promote equality, first of all, there should be equal pay, no difference in salaries between men and women. And in elementary schools, um, in majority of the areas, I would say there is no salary difference. They maximum what I have seen around, unless and until there are some specifications, men and women, they get equal pay. Yes, what more can be done is they should be given more opportunities, like maternity leaves, and for since the ladies who are working in schools, they have to have time to take care of their own children. So these kind of additional benefits should be given to the lady teachers. Plus is in schools, they should be given a child care leave. If beyond the child care leave, they should have a child care facilities in school also, so that they are able to bring their toddlers to the school. If there are some problems, or the areas they don't have those facilities where they can leave their children. So and to the ladies teacher, some more benefits should be given to their kids, so that simultaneously with their work, they can take care of their own children. Gaya, is it okay?
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. Our next question is from Jennifer. What are the impact of feminism in school, especially in primary? How could we impact in our daily teaching strategies?
What are the importance of feminism in school, especially in primary? Good question. How could we impart in our daily teaching strategies? Again, a very good question. The main responsibility lies on the teachers to bring a massive change in the society. And feminism, though it talks about empowerment of women, but we should keep in our mind that this disparity, gender based differences, gender based uh, disparity that begins from childhood. As I discussed in my session also, that boys are given more privilege. The boys are privileged in the society, whereas girls, they are given less choices, even in education also, in giving them freedom. Like boys, they are not expected to contribute to the household from their childhood. So these things can be, we can start from our school days, and the main responsibility lies upon the teachers to explain to all the students, irrespective of their gender, boys and girls, to teach them equally, to treat them equally, and to explain them how girls, they should not feel shy. They can also take part in sports. They can also come forward as boys do, and boys should also be, they should also be taught how to help your mothers at home, how to clean your own room. Don't wait for your mother to do or your sister to do. This is your duty. And from the childhood, girls and boys should be given equal treatment and equal chances of development. And this is the sole responsibility of teachers, and teachers can contribute a lot to remove gender disparity. Okay, is it okay, Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Jennifer, for a question, and a very good question. And in fact, it's not only the great movements are required to bring the change in the society. If we start from the beginning, our small steps are enough to transform ourselves.
Thank you for your answer, ma'am. I think there is no more questions. On behalf of
Thank you
IGP,
so
thank you so much, ma'am. It has very wonderful session. I hope everyone learned.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, ma'am. Dear participant, from 1st January 2013, we are going to change all of our sessions layout. Our new layout is we are going to we go for speaker speech or presentation. Then we will start our question. After that, we will complete our webinar certification process. And the last step is our competition. And after that, we will announce going for certificate process. And now I will give you your webinar code. Today topic is feminisms and the code is IGP2310 and the code is IGP2310. Code no one is eligible for certificates. With code you can claim your certificates anytime. Now I'm going to tell you how can you claim your certificate. First you have to go www.eduigp.com. Then you have to click on login if you have already an account. But if you are new, you have to click on sign in and you have to create your account. Once login, click free webinar and click the webinar title and click continue course. Get enrolled. If you are not enrolled yet, first you have to complete your enroll. After that, type the code in your certificate code box. Then click get your certificate is auto downloaded in PDF file already. Check your file manager or download folder. Thank you so much everyone for your active participation. I hope everyone learned from our webinar. See you again in our next session. Till that, stay happy. Once again, I am Badhandas from Bangladesh.